Have you ever prayed and felt like no one was listening? You whispered your pain, your questions, your hopes into the darkness, but all you got in return was silence. You wait, you cry, you ask God to show you a sign, but the silence remains. And in those moments, it's easy to think maybe God doesn't care, maybe I did something wrong, maybe He's not even there. But what if I told you that God's silence doesn't mean His absence? What if the silence is where the real work is happening? Today I want to talk to you about a truth we often miss. When God is silent, He's still speaking. Let's start with something we often forget. The Bible is full of moments where God didn't speak, at least not in the way people expected. Think about the time between the Old and New Testaments. 400 years, that's longer than many nations have even existed. 400 years, no prophets, no angels, no word from God, but during that time, history was shifting, nations were rising and falling, the Roman Empire was expanding. The stage was being set for the birth of Jesus Christ. God was silent, but He wasn't still. He was preparing everything now. Listen closely. Just because you don't hear God doesn't mean He's not working sometimes. The silence is the setup. Maybe right now, you're in that same place, you're praying for a breakthrough, you're asking for direction, you're begging for a door to open. But all you hear is nothing. That's not punishment. That's process. God often goes quiet right before a major shift. Look at the story of Job, a man who lost everything. Family, health, wealth, dignity. He cried out to God again and again, and the heavens were silent, but in the end, God restored him. Double what he had lost. Then there's Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, forgotten in prison. God didn't give him an explanation during the pain. He was silent. But He was shaping Joseph into a man who would save an entire nation. That silence was a sacred space, a womb for growth, a time of hidden transformation. So what does this mean for you? It means God's silence is not rejection. It's redirection. It's not God turning away. It's Him pulling you deeper. This is where real faith is born. Faith that isn't based on feelings. Faith that doesn't rely on constant confirmation. Faith that says, even if I don't see it, I still believe. Even if I don't hear Him, I know He's near. Even when I feel forgotten, I trust His plan. You see, silence is not empty. It's full of God, It's presence. If you're willing to listen with your heart, not just your ears, let me tell you what God might be doing during this silence. He may be protecting you from something you can't see yet. He may be developing your character for the place He's taking you to. He may be testing your trust to prepare you for greater blessings. Or He may simply be calling you to rest, to stop striving, to let go, to sit at His feet and just be with Him, not for what He gives, but for who He is. So if you're in a silent season right now, don't panic, don't give up, don't assume God has left you. He's closer than you think. He sees every tear. He hears every whisper. And His silence might be the greatest sign that something powerful is on the way sometimes. God's silence isn't saying no, it's saying, wait, I'm doing something better. Hold on, keep praying, keep trusting, because the same God who was silent in the tomb is the God who brought resurrection on the third day. Your silence won't last forever. God is working even now.